So do you really need to upgrade to the newest tech every single year? I mean, we have new phones, new computers, new iPads and tablets that are coming out every year, and some of them seem like you don't really need to actually spend any money on because there's not a whole lot that's actually been improved over the last model. But in today's video, we're gonna talk about old Apple tech that is still great to use today and that you don't need to break the bank to actually get for yourself. So let's jump right into it and let's talk tech. I'm Arnell with Arnley Tech, and the Apple Watch Series 5 is still an amazing smartwatch that even though it's like 4 years old at this point, it has the always-on display, which was the biggest thing that has come to Apple Watches, in my opinion, since the Series 5 being the first one to feature that. It was such a great improvement that's pretty much become a staple for all non-budget smartwatches, and it has a ton of features that just about anyone will enjoy, like the heart rate monitoring, the seamless pairing with your iPhone, pretty decent customization when it comes to the watch faces and the complications that you can customize on there, and it has pretty premium materials as far as the actual fit and finish of the watch itself. But in my opinion, this is probably the only item on this list today that I might recommend actually picking up a slightly newer model if you don't have an Apple Watch already, or maybe you have an older Apple Watch. So while the Series 5 is great, I do recommend that if you're in the market for an Apple Watch, I would recommend at least the Series 7, because the Series 7 is an incredible watch. It has all the things that the Series 5 has, but it's a bit newer, so you're more so future-proofing yourself, and the Series 8 and Series 9 didn't have too crazy of improvements that you really feel like you're missing out on something if you went with the Series 7 over the 8 and the 9. Alright, so the next item on this list is a pair of earbuds that just about anyone will enjoy, and that is of course the AirPods Pro. In my opinion, the sweet spot that you're going to want to go with is the first generation, but with the MagSafe case. Now, we've talked about the AirPods Pro in other videos, but the first generation are great because they have excellent sound quality. That transparency mode is amazing. It doesn't even feel like there's anything in your ear. It feels incredibly comfortable. These have an iconic design that just about anybody is familiar with. And especially if you get the MagSafe case, well, you have now opened it up to MagSafe charging. So that's a lot more convenient if you have a MagSafe charger. But even if you just went with the standard first generation AirPods that don't have the MagSafe, they all come standard with a wireless charging case. But moving on from watches and earbuds, let's move on to something that can be a little bit more expensive, especially if you are needing to upgrade this particular piece of your equipment, and that is going to be a computer. Now, there are many different ways that you can go about this. You can go with an all-in-one Mac that has the screen, everything all built into it, or you could go with a MacBook or a MacBook Pro. But in my opinion, the route that I would recommend going with, that I have personally gone with, is going with a Mac Mini. You have lots of different options to choose from, and like we've talked about with the MacBook Pro from 2012 in the past, you don't necessarily need to go with a very brand new computer. You can go with an older device. Like in my case, I have a 2014 Mac Mini that has the i5 processor, and while many people on forums and things like that might say to go with a newer device, which I would kind of recommend depending on your usage, honestly, the i5 or the i7 are relatively good for what you might need to use them for. So for many people, if you're just doing casual web browsing, your emails, your YouTube, you could go with an i5. Heck, you could even go with an i3, honestly. But the i5 is going to do very well for a lot of your more everyday tasks. Now, if you're an editor of different mediums like video and photos, well, you might want to get something a little bit more upgraded, but like in my case, like I said, I have a 2014 with the i5, and that honestly works great for somebody that edits all of their videos on my other channel, and that has not skipped a beat. It's an extremely capable Mac that is extremely quiet, and I honestly have no issues editing any of my videos, even with complex timelines and other things like that. I'm honestly just cruising along, and there are very rarely any times where I need to really wait for things to spin up and work. Similar to the AirPods Pro, it has an iconic design that just about anyone will recognize that honestly hasn't changed very much in today's Mac Minis, and has a lot of USB ports on the back that can also be expanded with a USB hub if you actually need to plug in more things. But what I will say is that if you can find a good deal on an M1 Mac Mini, well, I would highly recommend going with that, not because the i5 or the i7 is completely unusable. That is certainly not the case, and I am living testament of that myself. But the Mac Mini with the M1 processor is an incredible leap over the i5 and the i7, even the highest end i7 Mac Mini that was out just prior to the M1's release. It's pretty much a night and day difference, and that is something that's going to help you to future-proof your Apple devices to be able to get a little bit more longevity out of your devices and your usage. But before we move on, if you didn't know, we believe that tech was made to make your life easier, and that also means that you don't necessarily have to break the bank to get highly capable devices. Just like we're seeing with all the devices in today's list, well, you're seeing that you don't necessarily need to upgrade to the newest things just to be able to meet the needs that you might have. So our role is to be here to help you understand and discover tech that helps improve your life. Whether it's the newest tech like the iPhone 15 or the Google Pixel 8 Pro, stay tuned for reviews on both of those, or videos like this showing that you don't necessarily need to upgrade to those new devices every single year, we're here and we've got your back. And really all you have to do is subscribe so you don't miss another video like this. But anyways, let's get back to the list. So pretty much a device that you are for sure going to be using every single day is a phone, and that is something that is certainly going to get upgraded and brand new every single year with every new iPhone iteration. But honestly, the iPhone 13 or 13 mini or even 13 Pro are all three incredibly great and very, very capable devices in today's usage. We've done other videos on the 13 in the past, so I won't dive too deep into it in today's video, but what I will say is that the iPhone 13 is an incredible phone that I am still using today, even though it's like 2.5 years old at this point. It's running the latest iOS without any issue, and it has a bunch of other features that just about anyone will enjoy. It has incredible front and rear facing cameras. It of course has that cinematic and portrait mode for those incredible videos and photos, along with a very quick and capable Face ID sensor. And if you go with the mini option, you already know what I'm gonna say. It is very comfortable in the hand and it fits very easily in the pocket as well. As we round out a lot of the other Apple devices, well, of course you're gonna need to look at the iPad as well. Now, this is something that is more of, at least in my opinion, kind of a luxury-ish device. It's not necessarily something that if you have a computer and a phone, you might not necessarily need this as part of your everyday setup, but it is certainly something that is very helpful, can help you be a lot more productive, and can also help to alleviate your usage of the other devices. So it is something that is very useful. I just don't necessarily think that is very necessary. But of course, my value pick for that is gonna have to be the 9th generation iPad. Now, in my case, I've actually used the iPad to replace my MacBook Pro as my mobile device that I need for things that I just can't get done on my phone when I'm on the go. It is incredibly powerful and honestly leaps and bounds more powerful than that 10-year-old MacBook Pro that was honestly very game-changing at the time. It boots up very quickly, just like your phone. You can launch pretty much any application very quickly without missing a beat. It's incredibly useful for mobile editing, watching videos, and even for something like FaceTime, it does have that feature where it will actually track you with that front-facing camera, so that way if you're moving about the room, it's actually keeping you in the center focus. And you get all of this in the base model. Like I said, this is incredibly capable, and I've honestly been able to use it as my main editing computer for my other channel. Before I even got my Mac Mini, this was the device that I was using to edit a bunch of videos. And again, this iPad 9th generation can really do all these things without missing a single beat. But while the iPad 9th gen has done a lot for me, it is not perfect. And I want to talk about that a lot more in this video. So I'm going to catch you in that video. I'll talk to you there. Peace.